Hello students, I'm Himani Sharma, your UGC NET educator. In this new YouTube video, we are going to move forward with the concept series that we have. And today, we are going to discuss another dramatist. So, we have been doing certain dramatists from the past lectures which have been there, out of which we have covered most of them. But today, we are going to talk about yet another prominent voice when we talk about playwriting or drama itself. When we talk about the Indian theatre, that is none other than Asif Currimbhoy, right? So, let's just like always, first of all, see his image. He was born in the year 1928 in Mumbai and he passed away in the year 1994. So, this is one such information which at least you all should be aware of, if not being, the one mugging things up in here, correct? So, he was one such person who used to write about certain unconventional themes. So, his most dramas that you will see that we are talking about in here, the Dole Drummers, Nar Bangla, the Refugee, Goa, Inqilab, you will see that he is mostly talking about, and his stance is realist in nature. So, he uses realism. He also uses absurdity. Certain strange actions which are there where humans are also trying to find out their existence, the meaning of their existence, right? Realism, portraying things as normally, things as they really are, rather than, changing any kind of perspective or making any other kind of shift. So, basically, his dramas deal with that, and he has an unconventional voice. So, there are many symbols which we can also see in his plays when we read them, when we see them, that when they are being enacted, when they are being staged, correct? So, we see that there are certain symbols which are hidden beneath the surface which hold a deeper level meaning. But with that, he also tries to maintain the realist stance, as I already told you. So, his plays which are important are the Dole Drummers, published in the year 1958. So, Nar Bangla, again published, performed in the year 1958. The Refugee, 1960. Goa with 1964. Inqilab in 1970, correct? So, these are certain things, and I want you all, by the end of the lecture, I will make you guys write down 1 or 3 pointers that which play basically stands for what, like what basic themes does it really have. Now, first play that we are going to talk about is the Dole Drummers, published in the year 1958. So, it's a 2-act play, and we all will be knowing and should be knowing this very particular thing, that when we are moving forward with the play, when we are considering the important writers when it comes to Indian literature or British or any writing, sphere, we need to know that what and in which, in how many acts that particular play has been written. So, the Dole Drummers is published, performed and written in 2 acts, explores the life of a group of Anglo-Indians, correct, living in India after independence. We see these very particular things in prominence here. Highlights their struggles with identity. What are they? Who are they? What are they doing with their own lives? Belonging and cultural alienation, because it talks about Anglo-Indian. Are they English, right? Are they following the English mannerisms, or are they following the Indian mannerisms? They are torn between the conflict and the struggle between these two things. That is why the cultural alienation. Which culture do I belong to really? Challenges they face, they have been portrayed here in this very particular play. What do we really mean by Dole Drummer? This is first of all not a word in any kind of dictionary. The word that we have in dictionary is Dole Drums, right? Which means a state of inactivity. So, through the usage and inventing a particular word according to his own and, giving his play a different kind of title, the Dole Drummers, he is signifying the lives of the characters who are there. There are 4 major characters here: Tony, Rita, right? Then we have Lisa and Joey or Joe. We have these 4 characters in here. Now, Rita is one such woman. Rita is a girl who likes Tony. correct? So we need to write this very particular thing, because no such overview or a summary of this very particular play. So a brief overview I am giving here. So Rita likes Tony, of course. Then, but there is another angle here. Tony does not really like Rita, but he likes the doll. He likes the doll Lisa. But we have another character who likes Rita. So that is Joey or Joe, however you want to pronounce it. So Joe likes Rita, but Rita likes Tony, and Tony likes Lisa, correct? So this is the particular pattern which we have in the play. What happens is that Tony is when the play begins, we see that Tony is lying on the couch with his guitar, correct? And Rita comes in there. Then they both of them have a kiss. So basically Joe or Joey, because he likes Rita, he gets a little surprised and a little jealous of Tony, correct? And of course then comes the entry of Lisa, who comes in here. She provides Tony with, she has given Tony a watch, right? So Rita shows some kind of objection towards Tony, that even if you like me, Tony to some extent does like Rita, right? So Rita says that if you like me, you should not be accepting gifts from Lisa or any other woman except from me. So Tony says that if I were at your place, I would let you do whatever you want with your life, and you can also accept gifts from other guys. So this is a conflict that they have in their relationship, which is not even a relationship per se if we talk about it here. Correct? The correct word in today's time could be situationship. So they say that yes, of course, he also tells her that you can also get certain gifts if you want from guys. So just to reserve Tony for her own self, Rita turns into a prostitute. Now, why do we see that she becomes a prostitute? Because she says that I want to earn so much that I can provide Tony with gifts, and he cannot go to that, then he will not go to other women in search, etc., of the approval, the validation, the gifts that they are providing him with, including Lisa. So she turns her life upside down because of a guy. So we see the alienation. They don't know how and where do they belong. We see the chaos which are there, correct? State of inactivity which marks the life of the major characters. They are inactive, and this play is basically settled in a room only. Not much of an action takes place. So we see that how inactive those guys and girls are, which are the major characters in the play, the four of them. Humans are driven predominantly by two primitive needs. What are those needs which we have? Food and sex. So basically, if we talk about here, considering Joe and Tony as well, they are also one of those people who want to have their needs fulfilled. Correct? And Rita, just to have certain kind of connection with Tony, she turns into a prostitute. So we see the theme of sex, the theme of food, and the theme of inactivity in this very particular play. A play by Currimbhoy that deals with the lives of four Anglo-Indians we already talked about here, for their meaningless struggle for survival in the times that they were living in, and of course trying to maintain and see where do they belong. Even if I talk about the belonging in their relationships, this is such a difficult triangle. One does not know who is having a particular relationship with whom. So they are in some kind of disillusionment. They do not know where do they belong when we even talk about culturally alienated, or if we talk about them in the stance of relationships. Then we have another play. So Nar Bangla, 1958 again, translates to Golden Bengal. So the theme here is the liberation, correct, of Bengal. 4-act play it is. Socio-political turmoil which happened in Bangladesh, correct, and the cultural clashes which took place at that point of time. This is a major theme, the crux of the particular play. Impact of religious, ethnic and political divisions which are there, because Bangladesh was separated from India later on and became a different country. So why was that very thing happening? Why people were moving from place to place? Correct? That cultural clash, that religious, ethnic and political division has been perfectly portrayed by Currimbhoy in his play. So next we have is the Refugee, which is set when the Bangladeshi refugees were coming into India after the liberation. Correct? So backdrop of the partition of India, including Bangladesh as well. Experiences of a refugee family who has just shifted and their struggles for survival and acceptance. Will they be accepted in India if they are moving from Bangladesh to India? Correct? So their struggle for the survival, the question that will I be able to survive in this new alien land if we talk about. So they are also alienated from the places that they belong to. So the theme of alienation, including the displacement that is physically happening. This displacement is happening mentally as well. Mentally, culturally and of course physically as well. They are getting displaced from their own country. They are moving from their own country. What kind of struggles they are having when we talk about their mental issues, when we talk about their mentality, which is also going to the mental struggle that they are going to move forward with, the cultural struggle and the physical struggle of belonging to some other place which was not their first place to be. Loss of their property, loss of their culture, loss of their identity. Correct? And the question for identity, that where do I belong? Why am I moving there? How will I be able to survive in this new land? So all these questions are particularly dealt with perfectly by Currimbhoy. Then we have another play which is really important, that is Dole Drummers and Goa. These are really important. Other plays, we need to know at least the names of those very particular plays. Coming back here again, first performed in the year 1961, a 2-act play. This one is, backdrop is post-independence India. After independence India is the backdrop. The context of the story revolves around the central theme of cultural clashes and struggle for identity again. So you see that there is a pattern which Currimbhoy is following. The loss of culture, the loss of your own identity. When we talk about culture, when we talk about your own individuality, how that is lost even if you are moving from one place to the other, even if you are thinking about, why do we talk about the diasporic literature? Why is it there? Talking about these very particular themes that he has also talked about. Subject of Indian Army's invasion of the Portuguese colony of Goa on 18 December 1961. So this is really important because this date and this year is going to be of prominence when we talk about the overview of the entire play Goa. So what are the major characters here? We have Senora Maria Miranda, and then is her daughter, whose name is Rose. Now Rose is, of course, she is dark and deaf. She is black in color, of course, she is dark in color, complexion, etc. And she is deaf as well. So the theme of racial discrimination. So I am telling you the point साथ में. So you can note down the points that I was telling you कि मैं बाद में लिखवाऊंगी. Those pointers are here only while I am discussing the plays. So Goa deals with the racial discrimination. Now what do we call about? We call why do we have black literature, African literature? Why do we call them blacks, etc.? Just because of the complexion. Correct? So how that particular theme of race and its discrimination being talked about in here. Rose is now again, she is dark and deaf. Born to a Portuguese mother, Maria, and her father is a native Indian, not an Indian like us. The native Indians which used to be there, you can Google the images of native Indian, and that is why she is having dark complexion. They live in Portuguese colonized Goa. Then we have Alfonso, who is a gentleman who also lives in Goa, Miranda's lover. So his her mother is having a lover named Alfonso. So we have three characters till now. Miranda, Rose, who's her daughter, and then Miranda's lover, whose name is Alfonso. Then we have another character who's an Indian, Krishna, who loves Rose dearly. But when there is a, there is a thing that of course Bangladesh is going to be separated from India. The partition is going to take place on December 18, 1961. He rapes Rose. Because of what reason? That he was like, I waited so long to be in love, right? I wanted to be, intimate with you and make love, basically, as we call it in English. So, just because to fulfill that very thing that she is going to be displaced, she is going to move move away from the land now, I will have that physical indulgence with her now. So, basically, he raped her. He raped Rose. After this incident, Rose went blindfolded and Miranda became a sex worker. When Krishna visited them again, Rose killed him. So we see the displacement theme here and how it leads for people to see or talk about things which are a taboo, of course, and why people turn into barbarians when it comes to their physical needs as well, that yes, she is going to be away from me, let me take the benefit out of her, right? Maybe even if he was doing out of love, that is not the kind of love a girl imagines. So that is why in the end Rose killed Krishna when he came to visit her, and of course Miranda, because of the fact that whatever happened, etc., she became a sex worker. So this is the overview. So, of course, we, through the particular slides that we have talked about, the summaries of the plays or the overviews of the plays, I will say, rather say, we can see that the playwright Asif Currimbhoy made significant contributions when it comes to the Indian theatres, talking about themes which nobody really was trying to deal with. He was, and other writers who have been there, they started to talk about it, but nobody came into the forefront with such symbols in the plays as he used. His plays offered fresh perspectives on social and political issues. So, he was dealing with the partition of Bangladesh in his plays. There are two plays which deal with that. One is The Refugee and the other one is what? We have different plays in there. The Dole Drummers as well. If we talk about Goa, it deals with the partition and separation from India. Currimbhoy's works bridged cultural divides and explored the complexities of human relationships, and how even when I'm talking about Goa was not literally separated from India, but the partition was happening, and how people, like if we talk about India-Pakistan partition as well, how people suffered there, correct? The same case the people suffered here in as well. His plays continue to be celebrated because we are also reading them, we are even preparing them from the NET perspective to score certain marks, etc. Thought-provoking works because of his themes, correct, and his blunt attitudes towards writing those very particular plays without even thinking of a second thing. Enrich the theatrical landscape, simulating critical thinking, correct, and fostering cultural understanding. That is why we are critically thinking that why did particularly Krishna raped Rose? Why did he rape Rose? So all these things that is, that are telling us that yes, we need to be aware of that certain things are happening because they have certain reasons. But those reasons certain times will not be justified in any case, correct? So we see these very particular things. Now, question that I have for you is, dash is the subject of Asif Currimbhoy's play Inqilab. This is a new question. We did not deal with this very particular play. The answer to this question is option A. The Maoist Naxalite movement is the context of, and this is a PYQ of course, of his play Inqilab. Correct? So this was what we all were supposed to cover in this very particular YouTube video, where we talked about Asif Currimbhoy, his contribution, his legacy, and of course the plays that were supposed to be important, which are important of course from the NET perspective. I'll see you again in another video. Till then, you all keep on studying. Thank you so much and have a good day. Bye-bye.